very close to my heart. It's called Medical Astrology. So, Chaitanya Chandra, a very warm welcome. He's a well-known instructor in medical astrology. He's authored many articles, even author a big blog on this. I'll tell us about the blog very close to my heart. It's called Medical Astrology. So, Chaitanya Chandra, a very warm welcome. He's a well-known instructor in medical astrology. He's authored many articles. He's also run a blog. Please tell us about the blog. For your time.
जी
So
जी
tell us more about your blog first, and I have some questions about medical.
ma'am, there again there is probably some voice disconnect here because uh, I would actually advise you to request you to be a bit more loud because the
Sure.
voice quality is breaking up. When you talk, it half of it is actually audible, the other half is not. So,
So I'd like you to tell us a little more about your blog.
ma'am, I started blogging in 2008 around. Prior to that, I was on various forums like Mystic Boards and then India Divine also. India Divine probably now they do not allow postings in Jyotish section or anything like that because they have stopped uh, the uh, the post from actually being there because probably there is a space constraint or something like that, and they have stopped with astrology postings and all. I have around 500, more than 500 posts there on India Divine, and then Mystic Board. After that, I started somewhere around 2008. I started blogging. Initially, I till around 2010, I would also post from other sources, and I would give the link. I would always provide the link to the various source and all this. Thereafter, from 2010 onwards, then I stopped actually sharing the articles or blogs of anyone, any author whom I liked, because my this was probably misunderstood.
Right.
People, though I would always quote a source, probably then few people wrote to me, and then I told them because I liked it and I shared with the source. If you click on the link, it will go back to your site and all this. So, this was how blogging
What
was.
is the blog called?
It is called Bharatiya Jyotish Mantar Sadhana. So, it
Mantra
has Bharatiya Jyotish Mantra Sadhana, and its total page views are somewhere around more than 46 lakhs or something. Uh, Even today, the total page views are more than 300 or 350 or something. Uh, in active days, it was more than 700, 800 page views a day or something, because I'm not very active on blog right now, because
Right.
uh, I have one book, um, uh, one published book to my credit, and another is in the process. It will be out in probably a month or so. The
Right.
first book was on medical astrology. It is Roots of Medical Astrology. The second one will is for beginners, Vedic astrology for beginners. So
So
probably,
I want to ask you, what is medical astrology and how is it different than Vedic astrology, or is it based on Vedic astrology?
ma'am, it's not different from Vedic astrology. The concept is rather in medical astrology, the focus is entirely on the health factor, the diseases, how they come from, and the source, what kind of diseases one can have, the three doshas, and the Vat, Pitta, and Kapha, and the four humors as per medieval astrology, medieval English astrology. Uh, the Actually they have four humors based on four elements, while we have three humors based on again on because we do not have earth element. Earth element is redistributed among the three doshas, the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So
Right.
uh, the earth mainly. So that is further from it. Then what the Ayurveda has to say, the rasas, then the dhatus assigned to various planets. Uh, all all is studied as per the text, whatever is available in the text. Then the approach in this medical astrology that I follow normally is key. First, one should be aware of the disease, and one should also be aware of the causes. What causes it? What organ actually triggers it? What is the organ that is responsible for it? Then to assign body parts, that organ to a planet. So then probably you have the answer. You have the answer. One thing is that most astrologers shy away from it. One, health as a priority is for Indians or world over is very low down the list. If we prioritize, because people do not consider health to be a premier thing, so they keep
Right.
it. The first questions that normally pop up are how my finances are going to be, how
Exactly.
nobody asks how my health is going to be. So the as per the priority list. So another factor is key when you talk about health, you will also have to talk about the current phases of health also. And astrologers shy away from it because normally they will have to actually deliver, they will have to tell about the current scenario of the person, and that is rather difficult when you have to give around when we talk about future, because future is something that is not verified, past is something that can be verified, and the present is something that is very difficult to actually say ki currently you may be suffering from certain factors that are uh, uh, that are basically based on such and such organ of your body. So uh, considering all this, since it that is why it normally most of the astrologers they stayed away from it. One, it is very difficult in the sense that you have to tell something about the past diseases, you have to tell something about the present, and you do have to tell something about the future part of the diseases. And then you have to time it also. People normally want to know कि मेरे को कब से हुआ. Basically, people also want to know the timing when it can eventually happen. So these are certain factors, and that is why it's been bit down in astrology, and normally it's not a money making thing because uh, obviously in certain cases where people approach me, uh, it's already a full blown disease. So then I just give them remedies, but particularly if the person is in ICU or something. What can astrologer do in such a conditions? I can only name the combination that are there in the horoscope, and whether these combinations can help them. No, because the person is already in a critical situation. So
Right.
so
So
only.
the remedies are the remedies are based on Ayurveda, or are they based on Vedic astrology itself?
Actually, I always recommend stotras. I always recommend stotras because the reason is कि probably it is only the name of God, the Lord Almighty, and like the doctors also say कि they treat, He cures. So the main thing is कि we treat, God cures. Normally, it is written in every hospital or something. Similarly, here also,
Right. And
it's
sir,
only.
would you be with the tools that you're using and your calculations that you use, are you able to see critical diseases much before time if the person approaches you?
Gee, sometimes it's possible to actually see that, because see that there are certain factors uh, they actually can trigger certain dashas periods. For example, the dasha antardasha of second lord, then your sixth lord, seventh lord, eighth lord, 12th lord, uh, they can actually be the period of health hazards. Apart from this, dasha antardasha of 64th Navansha lord and 22nd Draken lord also. So these are the factors that can be that can bring you a health hazard. Another, other than that, as regards pointing it out, the eighth lord or Saturn in transit with the causative houses and planets will point towards a timing where when it can actually happen. But for example, in a Sagittarius ascendant, Moon is the eighth lord. So eighth lord will be in a particular sign for 2.5 days only. So the significant play or the movement here as a disease creator will be Saturn, not Moon, because Moon probably will just be over a sign in 2.5 days or something. So that is why here the Saturn becomes, and in case, for example, in case of uh, what you call uh, 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 let's take the case uh, uh, 10 4 no uh, 9 3 no let's take Jupiter as the eighth lord probably. So because Jupiter then Jupiter can actually play the role of eighth lord. So together with Saturn, uh, it can actually create havoc particularly as an eighth lord in the horoscope. So another factor is key even here uh, in uh, in the horoscopes, it is normally said that the sixth lord, if there is a malefic in the sixth, it will promote health. Normally, in the normal parlance, it is said that the sixth lord will promote health. But that is actually not true. For example, take Saturn in sixth house. Saturn will activate the eighth house by the third aspect. It will activate the sixth house where it is sitting, and its seventh aspect is falling on the 12th house. So all the trik bhavas 6, 8, and 12, 6, 8, and 12 they are activated. So how can it be beneficial? Only Mars is said to be uh, 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 benefic as related to will benefit the health if it is in the sixth house. It will actually because Mars has a fighting ability and it is a karak of the sixth house as well. The 3 and 6, the traditional view actually supports Mars as the karak of the sixth house, the Prashri view. So because of that, a karak in its own house probably uh, is somewhat of strength, and then it adds up to the fighting ability of the person, but because Mars is
Sir,
actually.
I have another question here. Uh, I understand how you're working with the placements. Do you also recommend gemstones? According to you, do they work as remedial measures?
Ma'am, actually, uh, my personal experience has been contrary to the fact that gems can work out. One. So, second, I have since I turned professional, I've been approached by multitude of gemstone sellers and all this, the distributors and all. Uh, so again, the exposure was the way the things were talked about were not actually very ethical. Another
I
factor.
I
So,
completely agree with you on that.
G. So now the second factor is key. Obviously, I always said you are welcome. People from far away places were willing to come over and talk business with me. First, but I normally discouraged all. I said, ki you are welcome as a person, but you are, because I won't be recommending any stone, so it's no use for you if it is totally a business visit or something. So my view is ki uh, I, it has more a psychological value rather than the remedial value assigned to it, because probably it's like a placebo effect. It's rather a placebo effect. So when actually it is something, because probably someone who has uh, what you coughed up around 20-30,000 rupees for a gem will probably have a feeling that something significant has been done, something that sometimes it may create an effect like a play, something like it's a psychological effect rather, ki something
So
has
can
been done.
it work at the level of the mind or the energy rather than physical?
That is it. That's exactly. Uh, that is why I do not normally recommend gemstones. So
Right.
whenever I normally see my remedies are based on uh, the location, the the religion, and mainly from on the location religion of the native. For example, if someone who's staying abroad and someone has to do a remedy of sun. Now sun is a government, and sun is also a significator of your medicines. Sun signifies the herbs, the Ayurveda. So so probably uh, I would always in such a situation I would advise the native to go to a government hospital, donate something useful for the patients or the attendants of the patient. For example, in India, if you go to a government hospital, uh, you go to any emergency, you will find people waiting, and people waiting beside the stretchers, and because there is no the hospitals cannot accommodate the people. Uh,
Absolutely.
so there is no sitting arrangement. If a plastic stool can be provided, so this will work wonderfully well as a remedy. So this is how remedies should be designed. And
Absolutely. I
for
agree with you on this, and I also work on similar lines. I also want to request you if you have any advice for the viewers.
well, personally is normally, as regards the medical astrology, your health is concerned, it is very important. You should take due care of it. Probably there are certain times or there are certain combinations for different diseases. If there are combinations uh, in the horoscope, then the native of the horoscope, probably if forewarned, should start taking some measures regarding that. Probably, and it's not that someone, any novice can do it, because it requires it on basis of a single principle is not something that should be done in medical astrology. It should be tested from different rather from different parameters, and if it fits in different parameters, then you can say कि there is a probability that there can be something very critical. So be very aware and get your tests done in time if something like this happens. But the thing is कि normally say in encyclopedia of medical astrology, uh, cart, it is rather forgotten the name. The author is MD in medicine encyclopedia, and a Western author. So one combination that he's given for the cancer is if moon and sign cancer, both of them are afflicted, then one can start looking in the horoscope for finer details as related to the tumors. It can be benign or it can be malignant. So that is one thing. That is the primary condition that needs to be fulfilled. Then you start looking for other combinations like the connection of sixth and eighth lord, because it will bring in something long-standing. Because whenever the sixth and eighth lord connect, they will be their disease will, because this is from Prussian mark exactly. Uh, uh, and it actually works wonderfully well in the nativity also. The sixth and eighth lord connect will bring something that is of critical nature whenever they connect in. So if there is a connection, then you go step forward. Then you check on the, because there are two fluid creators in human body. Moon is responsible for all fluids that are essential for the living of a human, for the actual living, or what is required. It governs all essential fluids. Now the other fluids, probably some secretions, some gland secretions also are under the domain of Venus. So Venus is more on a reproductive nature. Its nature is more on reproductive hormones and all this. Something it all goes the major thing. Moon is more on essential fluids. So whenever these fluids, these planets are exposed to Vata planets. Vata means Vata planets are basically Rahu, Saturn. So Rahu, Saturn normally are Vata planets. They tend to dry up the moisture. They create an imbalance. If that is created, then it's the condition number 3. Probably the fluids are all wrong. So then you look for another combinations and something. So probably it just requires step by step approach, and ultimately then you can say probably you should be careful if you find a lump, some lump on your body, you get it checked immediately, so that you are not caught unawares. Similarly, it's same for problems of head, heart, and all this. There are certain combinations. The classics also give you some hints. The classics in this case are Jatak Parijat, Sarvar Chintamani, Shambhu Hora Prakash, Viram Semloka, Jatak Tattva. They all point to certain combinations. They just give you, because normally in classics, a hint is given. You have to actually decipher the theorems. You have to actually decipher the meaning and text of what actually the author wants to say, because it's just a signal. Similar, first one, you get a factor from this. Another factor you get is from by reading from medical sites. For example, there are two websites on medicine that are very useful. One of them is Mayo Clinic, another is WebMD. So read something about the disease, then you read something about the causes, then go to the anatomy and see where the organ is. You just go to the Google for a normal anatomical chart of that organ. You will find where it is located. For example, if it is located in abdomen, which part, upper, middle, or lower abdomen. So probably this will because there are 3 different parameters for the same. And if it is still lower, then it will come to the 7th house. So the abdomen itself has 4 sections. So one should know which part where, from which house. So this will actually get in certain cases it gives you a definition. It gives you a combination. It gives you a combination. For example, in heart disease, in case of a heart attack, it happens because of an infection. There is an infection, and because of the infection, the body's response system, it comes and starts to do to repair the damage. Because of that, an inflammation can be caused in an artery. and that inflammation can actually cause a blockage. It can actually cause what you call uh, the restriction of oxygen to the heart, or there may be some block. If the blockage thus caused goes to the brain, then it will be brain stroke. If it goes to the heart, it will be heart stroke. And if the supply of blood is stopped to the heart, it will be heart attack. So uh, then so the vehicle of blood in this case are the arteries, are the vessels through which blood is carried out to the heart and to the different parts of the body. Now, if the arterial flow or the arteries are governed by sign Sagittarius. Now, sign Sagittarius is Jupiter. So Jupiter also governs the fat and cholesterol. So if there is an infection, the the response system is always triggered by uh, Mars, and Mars is always responsible for inflammation. So the inflammation caused is Mars. Now, because of the inflammation, there has been some blockage. So if now for all blockages in the body, may it be just constipation, may it be the kidney stones, gallstones, it is always Saturn. So we have a combination Mars, Jupiter and Saturn. If this combination is activated in the chart, that would mean that the person is, and then the person has certain combinations, for example 5, 9 and 11. 5 is the pump of the heart, Leo is the pump of the heart, mainly the and arterial system, the arteries, sign Sagittarius provides the vehicle or the system through which the blood has to flow. And then sign Aquarius. Sign Aquarius, one of the name given by Abraham to the sign Aquarius is Hriday Rog. Not very many people are aware of it, but one of the names given, like probably he's given the fifth house to be the name as Kulir. So and for 11th it is Hriday Rog. So I have been unable to find the meaning of Kulir because my Sanskrit is not good, but Hriday Rog, everyone knows what Hriday Rog is. So as regards the veins are concerned, the venous system has two rulers. Some authors attribute it to Venus, but since sign Aquarius is owned by Saturn, and the veins, the flow of blood from the veins is against gravity. Normally, we have valves that work like this. They don't allow the blood to actually come down once it is actually transported from the feet towards the other organs. So the veins, so since sign Aquarius governs the venous flow, the veins. So planet Venus and Saturn, so they are joint owners of this. Like Moon is said to be the heart. Similarly, Leo is said to be the pump of the system. So the pump. So obviously you have to take into consideration both Moon and Sun. For the veins, you have to consider both Venus and Saturn. So, and for the blood flow, it is Sagittarius. So why Jupiter actually is responsible for blood disorders is another theme, another thing that few people are aware of. Reason is that the sign Pisces governs the lymphatic system. Planet Moon is the owner of the lymphatic system. So two different attributes, two different planets. Moon signifies the lymphatic system as a whole. Lymphatic system is actually the immune system is actually part of the lymphatic system. The very immunity of the body depends on the lymphatic system. So this is again a fact. So Jupiter owns the Pisces. So as a Pisces, it's a joint ruler for the lymphatic system. Again, so anything related to blood or something, it will always have, because once it is the vehicle. So why Jupiter is said to be a planet that can expand diseases, particularly in cancer or something, from one part of the body to another. What happens in cancer is when the cells actually uh, uh, cells have the tendency to uh, regenerate and eliminate after a certain time of a period of a time. But in case of cancer cells, they refuse to die. They just refuse to die. They start multiplying, and to take them from one part of the another, they will require some vessel, some route, and normally it is provided by the arterial system or the lymphatic system.
Thank you so much. Very, very technical, informative. I'm also like really amazed at the way you've connected everything together. And if someone wants to consult you, what is the best way to get in touch with you?
Ma'am, actually my mail ID is sandhu.jp@gmail.com. So,
It will be on screen. People can email you. Is
Hanji.
that the best way to contact you?
The another factor is कि my cell number is 98761555355. So that's another way to actually get in touch with me. Uh,
Sir, I also believe that you teach astrology as well. So can you just give me 2 minutes a brief on that as well?
Ma'am, I actually normally I teach medical as well as Vedic astrology. I started doing it since probably 2017. 2017, it was the idea came. I actually taught for the first time uh, around 17 people and from Saptarishi. The Saptarishis had actually formed a group on medical astrology. So it was my first experience. Thereafter, I started on my own. Uh, so since then, I am currently into my seventh batch on medical astrology. And as regards Vedic astrology, it's rather more cumbersome. The reason is that everyone's level is different. So you cannot design a single course.
It's such a vast subject you can study all your life.
So you cannot design a single course for Vedic astrology. So uh, currently there are three people, three rather females, ladies who are actually learning from me Vedic astrology. All three have different levels, so I cannot bring them together. Probably it has to be designed as per, because whenever you have to teach Vedic astrology, for medical astrology it is not a problem. The course is designed, the book is out, printed, and everything. But for Vedic astrology, it is really cumbersome. You have to actually you have to talk to them. Then you give them literature. They come back with the questions, and then you explain the finer details and all this. The levels are different. So teaching Vedic astrology online is something, because in case of the institutes we talk about ICAS or Bharati Vidya Bhavan, the thing is ki they have a set curriculum. So a syllabus is there, so it is followed, irrespective of the fact that what kind of a level a person has. So, we we cannot have the same luxury. The thing is ki when we are teaching online, so it has to be designed as per the requirement. So we normally in competition, you have to be as per the, because the purpose is ki someone who has put faith on you on a particular thing, you need to justify that. Say someone wants to learn Vedic astrology and put his or her faith uh, in yourself, probably it's your duty then to actually guide the person to the best of your understanding of the subject. And the the one certain factor about Vedic astrology is the more you read, the more uh, aware you become that you know nothing.
Absolutely, I completely agree.
So more you
Imagine
read the classics
studying all and you still feel अभी आता नहीं है.
मुझे कुछ नहीं आता मेरे को, that is the approach normally, because 19-20 years into this astrology reading and all this, now because since 2014 I'm fully into it. all my waking hours are devoted to astrology in some kind or some form. So, uh, and I keep writing for the magazines also. Then I have to update myself because so there are certain facts that are something more confusing. For example, longevity. Till now, it has not been deciphered. There are 10 known methods of longevity, and uh, there is no single method that can be said to apply on all natives. Out of the 10, uh, probably I am aware of 3 or 4. Someone maybe who's intellectually higher than me or who has spent some time probably would know 8, 9 methods, but 7, 8, I would just say not beyond 8. So there is no surviving individual who is actually well versed in all 10 methods of this thing. So uh, one day, no, actually, I'll just tell you an incident, though it's I searched on around 35 charts of 35 charts. I was working on a combination for cancer, so I researched on 30 charts, and I slept on a very high note. The very morning, the very next morning, I was teaching astrology to a group of around 10, 12 people, and two charts of cancer popped up from my own this thing material itself. It was not something that someone else has given, and all the combinations as which had given me high, they all failed on that two particular horoscopes. None of them was, and that was something like कि वो कि जैसे भगवान ने औकात औकात दिखा दी हो ना भाई बैठ जा. It's no use going high on something that because there are always exceptions. There are certain exceptions. So that's what I feel normally. Uh, so
and this was a lot of information, very technical astrological information for all my viewers. And I'm sure
so
if people who want to get in touch with you for consultation, so all the details are on the screen. You can email Mr. Jatinder Sandhuji. You can also tap him or call him or message him on the mobile number given. But he has so much of experience and so much of knowledge. I hope you all will gain from it. Anything else you want to say to our viewers before we finish?
that is express your gratitude to the Lord. That is most important. Then being close to your parents, actually see the factors. There may be certain differences. There may be something that probably you do not like, or there may have been some injustice uh, that can happen in modern day house politics or something. But irrespective of all that, consider a fact: everything is destined. Everything has to happen in a certain way. So you cannot actually blame your parents for something that has happened to your life. Uh, my advice, my request to all of you is ki go seek their blessings. The blessings are very important because once they are gone, you won't have an opportunity to have them back or to actually uh, pay a service or you to serve them. You won't have any time left after they are gone. So it is always advisable, and normally it will also help you gain some momentum as regards to your the karmic journey is concerned. So it is always and then express gratitude to the God also, because whatever you have is something that has been given to you. So and it's no use actually aspiring for something that you do not have and wasting rather blaming the gods or factors or something for it. But it's rather one should be grateful to the God and express the gratitude for the same. That is mine.
A very powerful message by Jatinder ji. Instead of blaming, rise above it and be grateful. Thank you so much for this.
Thanks a lot, ma'am, and thank you, ma'am. Namaskar.
very much for coming and taking out the time. I'm truly